Don't wait until you've sold your property to get rid of this stuff. Get rid of it before. For Christ's sakes, clean your home. Do not cut back on this. Make sure this is done to a very, very high standard. And this can be the thing that really kills the deal is, welcome to The Real Deal, where we'll cut through the property noise. I'm Gary Brazenor, Byron Shire's go-to agent. Here you'll get real market insights and selling tips to help you make smarter decisions. Ready to go? Let's get real. Hi guys, today I'm going to be discussing my top tips to preparing your property for sale. Let's jump straight in. Choosing the right agent for the sale of your property is the first step, because this really sets the tone for the whole campaign. When choosing your agent, don't be swayed by the promise of a big price. You need to consider the process, and part of that process is got to be sitting with an agent who understands the local market, the intricacies of the market, has sold a lot or some property within your market, sits with you and shows you comparable sales of similar properties and can give you an understanding of why they believe your property sits in that price range. You need to sit back and be less emotional when it comes to pricing, and you need to look at the factors on house size, location, block size, elevation, views, condition of the property, and not be biased on those things. In my experience, sellers will regularly have an expectation that is above market. And this can be the thing that really kills the deal is by being 5 to 10% too high an expectation. They blow that first opportunity of finding that right buyer in that first month. When choosing an agent, choose it based on experience, comparable sales and current listings in the market. Choose it on the process of the sale, and don't be swayed by an agent that comes in there and just tells you what you want to hear regarding price. You need to get that price right in those first few weeks. This is absolutely vital, and you need an agent that you can trust who's going to guide you through the sales process along with pricing, presentation, marketing of your property, someone you feel comfortable to work with, someone that you feel your buyer will connect with as well and feel comfortable buying from and trust. Trust is vitally important. The next step in preparing your property for sale is to get rid of things that aren't coming with you. This sets the tone again for the whole campaign. In my experience, a lot of people will go into the sales process a little bit half-cocked, maybe with an expectation in the back of their head that potentially they won't sell. I think you need to go into the process thinking that you are going to sell with a positive outlook and a clear vision of what the sales process is going to look like. And part of that sales process is to get rid of everything in your house that's not coming with you to the next property. Don't wait until you've sold your property to get rid of this stuff. Get rid of it before. If you've got pieces that you actually want to take to your next property with you, but they don't add anything aesthetically to the sale of your old property, then put them into storage somewhere. You could store them in your garage or in your shed, or you can store it off premises somewhere. Getting rid of all these things prior to the sale of your property is obviously so beneficial. When you do go to move, you've half moved already. All too often I see clients that get rid of things that aren't coming with them, and they get rid of these things post-sale, and the property looks so much better, when really they needed to get rid of these things prior to going to market. Not only does this help improve the aesthetics of the property, but post-sale, it really helps you with your move. There's a lot less things to be boxing up. Just quickly, if you're thinking about selling but aren't sure what your home's worth, I've got you covered. I offer a free property strategy call to help you plan your next move with confidence. Check out my number in the show notes to learn more. Now, back to the episode. Next step is to neutralize and depersonalise. Painting things generally white or a consistent colour throughout will neutralise your property, and bringing in pieces around that to add your colour is important. Decluttering and depersonalising, getting rid of too many family photos, too much clutter, presenting your property like a show home where it's neutral and the buyers can picture themselves moving their own personal things into the property is key. The more buyers we can get to connect emotionally with your property, the more chance you're going to have of getting the right buyer and the right price for your property. The next step to presenting your property for sale is styling or staging your property. I work with Cactus Hill in my local area, which is a styling company. And in my opinion, styling your property versus selling it vacant can add at least 5% to your sale price. So based on the cost, this is a major impact on your overall sale profits. Giving your property street appeal is the next step into presenting your home for sale. Cutting back your gardens, defining garden beds, pressure washing, making sure your entry is a beautiful entry. We want to draw the buyers in. These buyers, when your property hits the market, will drive past the front of your property and make a decision as to whether they're going to put on their list of properties to come and view. So having the external street appeal up to scratch is vital to getting the most amount of buyers through the door. The next step in presenting your home is cleaning. For Christ's sakes, clean your home. Deep clean it. Clean everything. Clean it like it's a bond clean like you've never cleaned before. You want people to come in, it needs to appeal, it needs to be sparkling. You want it to be hospital grade. Make sure your windows are clean, make sure your window tracks are clean. Get one of your friends in to give you some feedback. Does it smell? Have you got the smell of dog in your carpet? Maybe you need to get your carpets cleaned. But for Christ's sakes, do not cut back on this. Make sure this is done to a very, very high standard. So the overview for the campaign of your property, the key points: presentation of your property is absolutely vital. Marketing, choosing the right agent with that marketing, and pricing. Pricing is absolute key. Choosing the agent who understands your market, who's going to price the property right, who's going to give you help with that presentation, that marketing. So those first few weeks, those key weeks, when you've got an opportunity where there's a buyer who's been looking out there for weeks, months, have made offers on other properties, when they come to your property, these buyers are A-class buyers, they're ready to buy. These are your premium buyers. If you've got the agent that's got the right strategy, the right pricing, the right marketing, you should pick up one of these buyers in those early weeks, and you should sell for the right money and move on without too much hassle. If you're considering selling and you'd like to arrange a strategy meeting, then feel free to reach out. I'd love to meet you. Those were the steps to preparing your property for sale. If there's any others that you think we should add or you'd like to discuss, then drop them in the comments. If you guys are looking to sell a property in the near future, then please reach out and we can arrange a strategy meeting for you. If you're looking to purchase a property in the area, then I'd love to hear from you as well. If you got value from today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you'll never miss property tips and market insights. For more support, check out the number in the show notes for a free strategy meeting. And don't forget to follow me on socials at Byron Lifestyle. Until then, see you at the next one.